Dunlop sponsors the British Touring Car Championship.
Cars out on the grid ahead of round 19 of the British Touring Car Championship, the start of our day's action here at Rockingham, where conditions are dry, but no one is particularly relaxed about that because the forecast is for rain at some stage of the day. Great qualifying performance from Adam Morgan to claim his first ever qualifying pole position, and he'll line up on the front row alongside Sam Tordoff. Dan Camish and Mike Bushell, great qualifying form from Mike Bushell as well. They make up row 2. Dan Lloyd, Chris Smiley, row 3. Tom Chilton and Brett Smith on row 4. Jason Plato out-qualifying his Subaru teammate on row 5. And of the championship contenders, or the championship leaders, Colin Turkington and Tom Ingram 12th and 13th respectively. But Matt Neal, our double points winner at Snetterton, way back down the grid, 29th position after needing an engine change yesterday. So that's the scene. Looking down on the grid, let's get down to car level with Louise.
Thank you, Steve. Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Rockingham grid. A very blustery Rockingham grid, I have to say. It's quite chilly down here. First pole position for Adam Morgan. First time, in fact, and I was quite surprised to learn this, that he's even been on the front row in race 1. So a brilliant performance from you yesterday. Times were so tight. I mean, it was less than a second covering the top 28 cars. So it was all about getting it absolutely spot on. How close to perfect was your lap?
To be honest, I didn't really think it was that special. I had a good one on my first set of tyres, and my second set of tyres, I set off, got halfway around the lap, I checked my delta, and I was like, flipping it, this is all right. And then, came across the line, and my dad refused to tell me until the checker flagger came out, so I actually had no idea where I was, but no, mega job by the guys, and hopefully now we can reward them with a good race.
Well, yeah, that part 1 done yesterday, but it's all about part 2 now, converting it. What's the game plan?
Just do the simple things correctly. Let's get a good start, get into turn 2, hopefully in the lead, and get my head down and hopefully get away.
Okay, best of luck with that. Let's trot on down and have a word with Mike Bushell, who was so happy. If Adam was happy with his pole position, Mike was just bouncing with joy with his 4th place on the grid. Actually, as we go down, let's just have a look down at the track here, because it is mostly dry. But if you look along these lines where the tarmac joins up, and particularly on that side of the grid, that is where the cars are going to be starting. There is still a little bit of damp down there, so it'd be interesting to see what impact that has on the cars on the left-hand side of the grid. Right, let's dive in and talk to Mike. I was just talking earlier on about how happy you were yesterday, ecstatic. It was almost like you got the pole position. I mean, this is the highest up you've ever been on the touring car grid, and I know you're a little bit nervous about it, aren't you?
Yeah, when we spoke earlier, definitely was nervous, but as soon as I get in the car, it's not so bad. But this is great. I mean, I'm looking at Dan Camish to my left. He's someone I've rated and watched in Porsches. Tordoff's nearly won the championship. Morgan's a race winner, so I'm in good company.
Credit where credit's due. I mean, it wasn't just a one-off lap. You were really quick in free practice as well. And I know that you've been spending a lot of time in the factory working on this car, haven't you?
Yeah, it's just getting everything together as a close-knit little team. I mean, the guys I've got today, we're all jolly and happy, and we've become really good friends on just over these last 2 days. I think it's just the attitude. That's the big difference.
5th place is your best result so far this season, back at Brands Hatch. A really good chance of beating that. Now, I was chatting with Tony Gilliam earlier. He said a win and a fastest lap were doing fine. But what's the realistic aim?
Oh, a podium is, well, that would be amazing, but anywhere in the top 10 is a good result.
Fingers crossed, hope it goes well for you. Right, we've got 2 collards on the grid here today. Only one of them is going to be driving, but they're both about to be chatting with Paul O'Neill.
Thank you, Lou. OK, I'm going to just speak to Ricky first, but Ricky Collard, a BMW junior driver. So he's driven a lot of things for BMW, GT3 in Blancpain and Spa 24 Hour, and also he's done British GT4 as well. He's no stranger to BMW. Ricky, how's it going, mate? I like your seat.
My maxi cozy.
Proper baby seat, that, mate. How's it going? You OK?
Yeah, obviously I'd like to be higher up, but it just shows how competitive this championship is. I've had qualifying inside the top 3 and in Blancpain, and that's up against XF1 drivers, and same with DTM tests. But massive credit to everyone that's on the grid here this weekend. It's tough.
Top man, you'll be sound. Okay, Twitter has gone wild, mate. A couple of questions in for you. Mark Slattery has asked, will Ricky find it tough to give his dad the seat back when he's fit again?
Maybe we could do like I'd love to see maybe touring cars add, driver changes, like a little bit like what you have in the Aussie V8s.
Yeah.
You have like an endurance championship. I don't know what everyone thinks about that, but I think that'd be quite cool.
That'd be wicked, wouldn't it? That'd be good, mate. Ben Howe. No, not get me in the seat if you didn't know that, no, mate. Ben Howe, he's saying, Ricky has driven in Formula 3 and GT racing. Do you think touring cars is a realistic future pathway for you?
I really hope so. You know, the crowds and everyone that's here, it's such a big spectacle. And I think, you know, obviously BMW is a manufacturer in here at the moment, and I'd love to see more manufacturers come over. And you know, more manufacturers means, you know, bigger shows for the fans, and you know, that's what we all want to do.
Perfect, mate. Justin Phipps, the last question. Ricky, what's the main difference between your DTM car and the BTCC car? Good luck.
Sorry, you might have to repeat that question again, sorry.
Someone chatting to you. What's the main differences between your DTM car that you've driven and the BTCC car?
It's a difficult one because, you know, this car, I can't use any of my like previous knowledge. You know, Formula 4 was slicks and wings, Formula 3 is slicks and wings. DTM is basically slicks and wings. So, you know, it's literally like going to a blank canvas for me. So I'm trying to use techniques and stuff that I've used in previous BMWs, and I just can't do it in this one, which is quite cool because it's a new challenge and I want to learn because I'm a junior. But, you know, it's a real steep learning curve to try and do it in front of everyone, and you know, every session we've got quicker, and I just wish I had one more free practice session before qualifying. And you know, this one it's difficult with carrying the weight, but race 2 and race 3, you know, this is a good qualifying for Collard anyway.
All right then, cheers, mate. Listen, I'll let you go. Good luck. Let's go and have a quick chat with Rob. Rob, he has done a great job, hasn't he? Quick word, mate. How good has he been?
Oh, I'm absolutely delighted for him. You know, I've got so many mixed emotions today. I feel frustrated I'm not in the car and disappointed in him. But then the other part of me, which is a greater part, is I'm so proud as a dad to watch him now here in BTCC making his debut. So, yeah, absolutely stoked.
That's mega, mate. And I can see you getting emotional. I absolutely love it. He's going to do a good job, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want him to go out there, enjoy it. You know, if he's got a smile on his face at the end of today, that'll mean the world.
Top man. Listen, I'll leave you to it. Good luck to both of you. But Lou, who have you got now?
I have got our championship leader, Tom Ingram, who was fastest in FP1 yesterday, 5th fastest in FP2. But it went a bit wrong in qualifying, didn't it?
Yeah, it was not necessarily anything went wrong. We just didn't quite have the pace that we needed to against the guys ahead of us because we were carrying the weight. So with 75 kilos, it was always going to be a bit of a big ask to try and do anything too spectacular. But look, we're around the kind of the people we need to be with Colin and Andy and people who are also close to in the championship a little way down. So yeah, I think we'd almost probably say that's the best we could have hoped for.
It's still a little bit damp on this side of the grid. It's dry further up, but damp on your side. How much of a concern is that for the start?
You always bring me good news, don't you? Yeah, of course it's going to be a slight issue for us. We're going to have 3 fast starting cars, 4 fast starting cars around us that we're going to push forwards. So yeah, it's going to be hard work. So you'll see us all having to really work the tyres really, really hard on the warm-up lap just to try and get as much core temperature as we can. So yeah, we just got to try and get through the first couple of laps and see how the race pans out from there, really.
Okay, I hope it goes well for you. Time, I think, for a very, very quick word with Colin Turkington lining up just ahead of Tom on the grid. Once again, I've come round to the wrong side of the car. Colin, just a very quick word with you. Not too bad in championship terms. You've got a championship leader alongside you, but this is quite a dangerous place to be on the grid in the mid-pack, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not easy getting out of the mid-pack, especially with weight in the car, but I'm starting 12th, so if I can move forward into the top 10, that would be a good start to the day, and then shift the weight out. So, yeah, I'm optimistic we can make a few positions.
Okay, I will let you focus on the race ahead, and I'm going to get myself off this grid, so let's go over to Tim and David to talk us through the race.
And as ever, this should be a cracking race. Rockingham has all of these different challenges, the twisty infield, the banking for the oval, that very fast turn one. And that first hairpin at Dean is always a great place for overtaking, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say lots of potential for outbraking into turn one. But yeah, it always produces good racing here. And there is opportunity for people to pass. There's lots of passing places.
Sure.
We've also got potential tyre degradation. Most people starting on the prime tyre, at least at the front anyway. So there'll be quite an interesting part for that. But yeah, I think it'll be a good race.
And this grid is, yet again, very jumbled, with the likes of Mike Bushell up fourth. You've got the two BTT Norlin Hondas fifth and sixth. There are plenty of people that need to make progress forward. So, again, there's going to be a lot going on in this.
Well, there's the championship guys that want to make progress, but there are also a lot of guys at the front who desperately want to win a race.
Indeed.
They want to win their first race. So I'm thinking of Dan Camish, I'm thinking of Mike Bushell, Chris Smart. Well, they all want to win a race, don't they? So that could lead to some pushing action at the front.
And we know that this is a circuit you can overtake around, and we know it's a place that always gives drama. We know it's hard on tyres as well. There is the threat of rain. The last forecast we had a look at did suggest that the rain was getting a little bit closer, so who knows, in the final third of the race it might be that the track conditions change. 16 laps are ahead of us. The cars accelerate away from the grid, ready for round 19 of the British Touring Car Championship for 2018. Let's just have a look at how they line up going into this first of the three races. Adam Morgan on the front row for the first time, therefore on pole position for the first time, has Sam Tordoff for company. Third is Dan Camish, hunting for that first win. It could come now. Mike Bushell, best ever qualifying, is fourth, ahead of Dan Lloyd and then his teammate Chris Smiley sixth. Seventh is Tom Chilton. Eighth is Brett Smith, leading the Eurotech Honda fleet of cars. He will go from 8th on the grid. 9th and 10th are Subarus, Jason Plato and then Ash Sutton. 11th is Andrew Jordan, the best of the BMWs, ahead of teammate Colin Turkington. Then Tom Ingram, after his two punctures yesterday in qualifying, he has got Matt Simpson alongside him, and Aidan Moffat is 15th with Alain Menu as his new driver coach this weekend. Sam Smelt, best qualifying, putting him 16th. 17th, Senna Proctor ahead of Bobby Thompson, and then Ollie Jackson with Rory Butcher rounding out the top 20. 21st is Josh Cook, certainly a man to watch, ahead of Tom Oliphant. Jack Goff, 23rd, another man to watch. Rob Austin has won here in the past. Then it's James Cole, winner last year. Ricky Collard, set for his British Touring Car debut, is next, ahead of Michael Caine and Stephen Jelly, a winner here in the past for WSR. Matt Neal, 29th. What progress can he make? He should be good in Dunlop's Forever Forward award here. Glyn Geddy returns to the championship and starts 30th, and Ollie Pidgley, new to touring cars, will go from the back of the grid. That is how they line up. Remember that for the first race, we will carry championship ballast. So it is the 75 for Tom Ingram. Also have a look at who is on the option tyre. Brett Smith, Jason Plato, Andrew Jordan and Matt Simpson going into this first race. Bobby Thompson, Michael Caine, Glyn Geddy as well. So that is how the field will line up, and Jack Goff is certainly going to be a man on a mission. Let's try and grab a word with Jack if we can before we go racing. Jack, 23rd, not ideal yesterday. Could be a difficult first race this. What was the problem yesterday?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that, David. That's nice. No, we made a slight call. To be fair, it was Michael in qualifying. We've been struggling with a bit of understeer sort of earlier in the day, and yeah, I chose one decision. Turned out to be the wrong decision. We're talking a couple of attempts, maybe 3 maximum, and that's the difference between being 23rd and probably 10th on the grid. You know, and with 48 kilos in, that can make quite a big difference. But, you know, today's a new day, head down, and we're looking to make up some places.
Indeed. Now, yeah, let's look forward. What about the track? We've had a lot of overnight and early morning rain. Is it bone dry now?
There's a few patches. Not perfect for overtaking on, to be honest, on the inside of corners, things like that, but as long as I can keep it on the black bit, or the light grey bit actually with Rockingham, and then we'll see what we can do.
Excellent, we'll leave you to it. Good luck, Jack.
Cheers, lads.
So Jack Goff making his way up towards the grid, and every time he gets a good haul of points, the next round something seems to trip him up in qualifying. We had it at Croft, we've got it here again.
Yeah, we have just a little difference in balance, meaning he was a bit off the pace, but on a grid as tight as this, with 29 cars covered by a second, for someone like Colin Turkington or Jack, 1/10 of a second could be plus or minus 6 places on the grid. So just a fraction of a second can massively change your starting position.
On the subject of Jack Goff, team manager Marvin Humphrey's not here this weekend at Eurotech. He's a bit under the weather and is recovering. Marv, get well soon. We look forward to seeing him back in the paddock in a fortnight's time at Knockhill. There is newcomer Ollie Pidgley. He's raced in Clio's, he's raced in the Mini Challenge. Glyn Geddy in the MG, returning to the championship. Of course, he was with United Autosports a few seasons back. His then teammate James Cole further up the grid for Motorbase. The grid is formed. It is 16 laps in prospect. It is round 19 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship. And the lights go red and the lights go out, and we go racing with a good start made by Morgan. Not a great start by Dan Cammish, who bogs down a little bit, so Mike Bushell tries to come up around the outside, and a demon getaway by Dan Lloyd, who threads between the two of them. Dan Lloyd goes up on the inside there to third place, but Cammish will try and brave it out with him on the run to the Dean hairpin. Tom Chilton in the yellow Ford ducks down low, but he can't find a way through. Cammish breaks late, and into the back of Tornoff, turns him around. The two BTC Norling Hondas have got in strife as well. Jordan's in the side as well. Brett Smith up here is involved. There's drama for Matt Neal from the back. There is mayhem at the first corner, and all that seems to be triggered as Dan Cammish brake late and Tornoff was in his way.
Yeah, Matt Cammish made a poor start and he's got some damage on the front, I think. He lit the tyres up and got wheel spin, and then desperately trying to defend the inside into Dean Hairpin, ran into the back of Tordoff, and that triggered that multi-car accident.
And we go safety car, so perhaps not surprisingly they race until they see the boards. There is Dan Cammish, he has survived. There's all this mayhem behind. Adam Morgan leads the way. Up into second is Tom Chilton. Gap back third is Cammish. In fourth place it's Sutton. Fifth is Bushell. Sixth is Plato, being given a bit of a rub from, which of the Hondas was that? Was that Smiley or Lloyd? It's the BTC Norling car of Chris Smiley, I think, which has got damage because he got tangled up with Dan Lloyd, but he's still going despite the car falling apart around him at the front. Look at it.
There's nothing left of that, but I think Cammish has got a problem. There's something not right with that car. He did have some minor contact on the right front as well, obviously, but he's elected to stay out. But yeah, a messy first lap, and ironically, it was Cammish's teammate Matt Neal who ended up at the back of that accident as well.
Indeed. Let's piece it all together.
So Cammish is trying to defend from Chilton, just outbrakes himself, gets into the back of Tordoff.
And then there was Dan Lloyd being turned around. I think Jordan got involved in that. Smiley hit Lloyd, Jordan hits Tordoff. Then the Audi gets involved, then Matt Neal piles in.
Yeah.
From another angle, let's have a look.
It is difficult to stop the car coming. Look, there's just that concertina effect. That was Ollie Jackson, wasn't it, into the back? But it's just the concertina action.
And you turn the corner like Matt Neal and suddenly it's all kicked off ahead of you.
On board with Oliphant. He makes a better start. He's got Josh Cook in front of him, but he gets overtaken very quickly by Goff and Austin and round the outside. He goes round the outside, which is the safest place to be. All the action starts off on the inside. He goes down the middle on the brakes. At this point, you need to be looking a long way ahead. He should be looking at the accident, and he just gets turned round, avoids the worst part of it, and continues.
I think Sam Smelt was involved in all of that as well, because he's not come through at the end of the opening lap. Josh Cook's view, further back on the grid.
Yeah, he bogged down a little bit, but coming from further back, he gets a run on the inside. The first turn here off the start line taken absolutely flat out. Remember, the drivers have crossed the tyres over, so it's warm down below the apron there, and he gets a good run, looks down the inside. It's all blocked up as everybody, Thompson in front of him, Bobby Thompson that is, and now he's seen the accident and just makes a good avoidance. That was good avoidance by Josh Cook.
Go the right way, you're a hero. Go the wrong way, you're in strife. And Sam Tordoff, after a great qualifying, he just cannot get a break this season, can he?
No, he was rattled around like a pinball machine down there, wasn't he, unfortunately?
Sam Smelt out of the race. His Audi went piling in after his best qualifying of the season as well.
Yeah, he did really well in qualifying, and it was a great effort for him. Oh, we've got some drizzle on the windscreen. That's going to liven things up on the restart for sure. The drivers, therefore, frantically weaving to keep temperature in the tyres as the drizzle comes down.
Yes, like it wasn't lively enough to begin with anyway. Yes, it's going to be more dramatic. Down the pit lane also now has just come Brett Smith. We saw him getting involved.
Andy Jordan and Matt Neal are still circulating, but right at the back.
Oh, a chance.
Now, this is a good call. You know, why not? Why not? If the rain comes more, and under a safety car he can catch up to the back of the field. It's a good call.
May not work, but there's nothing to lose. He's not fighting for the championship, so Brett Smith here, if the rain really does come, could find himself in the box seat. Dan Lloyd is still going. Now, Adam Morgan is the race leader, and it's Tom Chilton running behind him. Now, Chilton, remember, started 7th on the grid, so he admittedly gained a few places by the dramas ahead of him, but he was in the right place at the right time. He runs second. Look at the wiper now, very definitely on. We'll go racing again this time. Dan Camish is third, Sutton is fourth, Bushell fifth, Plato sixth, Smiley is 7th, Turkington's up to 8th, Ingram is up to 9th, and Matt Simpson is up to 10th.
Yes, well, we said it could happen, didn't we?
We weren't wrong.
And we did say it probably at the first hairpin, didn't we? Yes, we weren't wrong. But this is going to make it more interesting, I'm sure, with a bit of drizzle.
Now, bear in mind, Adam Morgan's got a bit of rallying in his background, so he can cope with slippery conditions. Let's see how we fare. I'm amazed that Chris Smiley's car is still going, but my concern for him would be that he gets a meatball flag, because as the car is losing bodywork, the scrutineers may want him into the pit lane.
Brett Smith's been off the road on his wet tyres. That was him going off the road at Yentwood as he quickly tries to get on the back of the pack.
Green flag, we're racing again. Wipers working overtime. The drivers charge towards turn 1. Adam Morgan it is, leading the way and trying to gap Tom Chilton. Dan Camish runs third, going with him as they come up towards the Dean Hairpin, and Morgan has gained a couple of lengths, but Chilton closes up under braking, has a look to the inside line, closes right up there, but is he going to be able to stay tight up behind us there? Ingram goes wide into the Dean Hairpin.
Well, that just shows you it's tricky braking. Ingram only just keeping it on the black stuff, albeit the wet black stuff. And Smiley's lost that bit of front apron, so...
Plato ahead of him, getting all sideways. Smiley into the back of him, and Jason gets tripped up and fired out wide.
Yeah, it's very tricky out there, isn't it? But that's a shame. Jason had a good qualifying performance just in front of Ash Sutton, but he'll be unhappy with that.
Sutton to the inside of Camish, the reigning champion goes through, fight for third, and Ash Sutton picks up the place. So it is Morgan leading Chilton second, up to third now. Sutton up to down to fourth, I should say, is Camish. 5th is Mike Bushell, 6th is Chris Smiley, up to 7th is Ingram. Now he's ahead of Turkington. Then you've got Matt Simpson. We're up to 18 laps because of the safety car period, and Camish with the lights flashing wants to get back ahead of Sutton because he's got Mike Bushell in the ballast-free Volkswagen having the touring car race of his life there in 5th place.
Yeah, we saw how good Ash Sutton was in the wet at Snetterton on that very last lap against Goff, so he clearly revels in these conditions.
Over the line goes Adam Morgan in the lead of the race, and he leads by 7/10 of a second. He's just done the fastest lap. Third then is Sutton. Camish is fourth, but Mike Bushell could be on for the podium here because we know that Volkswagen, a nice slippery shape, goes well around here. Chris Smiley running in 6th in the lightweight Honda now that it's shed bodywork. 7th Ingram, 8th is Turkington, and there Bushell to the outside line into the Dean Hairpin. Can't find a way by Andrew Jordan playing catch-up now, doing the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, just on the back of the group, and well, I'm amazed how well Smiley's car's going with all that damage, and you know, there's quite high-speed aero sections to this lap, so he really is fighting well.
Well, we know he's a fighter, he's a tenacious driver, isn't he, Chris Smiley, former mini champion, raced at the Sirocco Arc Cup, supporting the DTM, and he's right on the back of Bushell. He can smell another couple of places coming here, but look at the lead gap. Chilton is getting closer to Adam Morgan. We've had 11 different winners this season. Chilton not yet a race winner. Could it be in race 1 we get our 12th different victor of the season?
Quite possibly. He was right on the ragged edge there, coming through Graceland, putting the wheel wide. Now Bushell's putting the pressure on Camish, and Smiley's putting the pressure on Bushell.
Now, Brett Smith's lap times are not as good by some margin compared to those drivers on the slick, so it is still good enough for the dry tyres. He's about 8 seconds slower, but if the rain comes and he's still on the lead lap, that's the hope, and he's still in with a shout when the rain finally comes.
Yeah, the moment that gamble didn't pay off because he didn't get on the back of the crocodile when the restart came. The restart was quite quick, and also, as you say, his times are slower than the slick cars anyway. But of course, if it does rain heavily, the slick cars actually won't even be able to get round the track, so then it completely changes.
Now there, Bushell versus Camish, they're losing touch a little bit with Ash Sutton because they're busy squabbling. Chris Smiley is behind them, and then have a look behind them for 7th and 8th, the top 2 in the championship. Ingram versus Turkington, and then you've got Aidan Moffat up into 9th place. Now, remember, Aidan Moffat always goes well in greasy conditions, and he's proving the point again here.
Yeah, he certainly is, and as you said in the introduction, Alan Menu helping him this weekend. Alan Menu, who lives in Scotland, and asked by Bob Moffat to help out. I think he's brought a lot of experience to the team this weekend, and clearly helping Aidan Moffat. I think he'll be at Knockhill as well, helping the team.
So another step forward is taken. Chris Smiley running a little bit wide there. Ingram fending off Turkington. Moffat closing up, having got past Simpson, who is now rounding out the top 10. Ollie Jackson running in 11th, having another good showing in the Audi, turning out of the hairpin. On board with Jackson now.
We're just watching the screen, see if that rain is getting any worse. It's streaming off the windscreen. The team's put Rain-X on the windscreen, which makes the water bead up and roll off to avoid using the bump, the wiper wherever possible. But yeah, it is still drizzling, but not enough to really affect the grip. They're keeping good lap times. They're about a second, just 1.2 seconds off where I'd expect them to be on a race pace, so that's good. This is on board with Oliphant, with Jordan in front and James Cole.
We've just had a change for 16th, Michael Caine ahead of Stephen Jelly. Jack Goff, incidentally, 14th and 23rd, creeping forward. Still got work to do. And there, Jordan dives towards the inside of Cole. Oliphant gets a toe. He will go to the inside line on the way down towards Dean. Is this going to work? It's brave. He turns in. Jordan goes wide, gives him racing room, and the BMW will just hang on to the place as Matt Neal closes up behind them.
Yeah, that was a dramatic moment right on the apex of turn one, taken flat out. Andy Jordan had a bit of a slide, and that lost him the momentum and opened the door for Oliphant. But wise old Andy Jordan just ran round the outside, knowing he'd have the inside next to him. That's where the rain looks worse, doesn't it? It looks worse through that section. This is Piff Paff, the long left-hander that works the front right of the front-wheel drive, the right rear of the rear-wheel drive cars. So the balance ebbing and flowing between them, but that's definitely where it's slipperiest.
Down towards the Tarzan hairpin comes Jordan. Have a look at Matt Neal looking for a way past James Cole, a winner here last season. Jordan having to go defensive to keep the green Mercedes at bay. It is the red Mercedes still leading by over a second, Adam Morgan, but Jordan here with damage sustained on the first lap. He's having a real fight on his hands. All of this is for 21st place. Behind him, in fact, Jason Plato looked 24th after that contact with Chris Smiley and being turfed onto the turf.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to go on board with Oliphant again as we go through turn one and see that tricky section. Here we are again. Remember, it's flat out through turn one, 135 mile an hour. And watch Jordan's car this time. I bet he doesn't go down below the line. No, he doesn't, because when you go below the line, it flattens it out. But look, Oliphant's got such a good run on him. The Toka engine in that car, swinging him down the inside into Dean.
And Matt Neal almost into the back of James Cole behind as he breaks desperately late for the hairpin. Tom Oliphant then gains a place. And there is now a driving standards flag being prepared for Glyn Geddy for track limit abuse. There, look, it is Jack Goff hustling on. He's got himself up past Ollie Jackson now. So Jack Goff working his way forward all the time.
And Ricky Collard having his first BTCC race on the back of that group. He'll be learning a lot, probably staggered by the amount of different lines and action and close proximity racing that's going on in front of him. But Ricky's watched enough touring car races to know what goes on.
And he's won here in Formula 4, he's won here in Formula 3, so winning a touring car, no pressure, Ricky. There's the leader on his own, Adam Morgan. Look at second, third and fourth. They are as one. Chilton caught by Sutton, who has still got Camish behind him. And then, look, Mike Bushell has lost out now to Chris Smiley. So up to fifth is Smiley, down to sixth is Bushell. Chilton goes wide, and Sutton in the Subaru tries to make a move coming over the timing line now to start lap number 9.
Yeah, it's really fluctuated at the front now. Morgan's got basically a 2-second lead. Remember, we saw Chilton right up behind him, but Chilton's actually dropped away into the clutches of Sutton and Camish.
Down to the hairpin, Camish it is attacking again, but Chilton is under attack. There, Mike Bushell starting to come under attack from the Ingram-Turkington battle. And in turn, they have managed to fend off Moffat. He's still scrapping with another ex-Oval racer, Matt Simpson.
And look, they're actually catching up with Brett Smith. That's Brett Smith on his wets, getting out of the way and then going a lap down. So really no chance for him to come back. It was a gamble that was worth taking, but it hasn't come off.
There's Bushell under attack from Ingram, and if the door is left open, Turkington will be up past the championship leader. So the top two in the title race in order. Ingram ahead of Turkington. Mike Bushell trying to defend. He puts his lights on as he comes into Gracelands. He wants to put a lap on Brett Smith with losing minimal time here. Down towards the hairpin they come. Smith keeps out of the way, lets them all go, and then slots in behind.
And remember, these are 1-2 in the championship, Ingram and Turkington, and they're just pacing each other. They're not going to do anything silly. They've already made great progress in this race. They're going to lose a good amount of weight. But up front, Sutton is all over the back of Chilton. Cammish looking to buy into it. Oh, bit of a rub at the back. The problem is that Subaru is really slow on the straight, and however well he comes off that corner, he's just not going to get near the Ford. The Ford knows it as well, and Chilton could just look at the acceleration. He could just drive his line knowing he's not going to be under threat.
And straight away, Sutton has to start defending because Cammish is all over him like a rash as they come down to the Dean hairpin. Can't find a way through there. You saw him cheekily flashing the light, saying, come on, I'm quicker than you, but Sutton's already worked away past the Honda. He's not going to give up that place without a real fight.
Well, Sutton might actually be quicker than Chilton, but this is the section, the middle section, where the Subaru works really well. I'm still convinced it has a far superior centre of gravity because visibly the car is quicker around the turns, the change of direction and the braking. And in that centre section, the Subaru was actually the quickest car in practice. So it's very quick there. Look, he's all over the back of the Ford. But then when they get to the straight, the long flat-out section, he just can't stay in the tow. Look, he's dropped Cammish. But then when we get back to the straight, he'll be suffering again.
So Cammish closing up. Chris Smiley is next in the queue. His lap time's fractionally faster, but perhaps still suffering with that damage sustained at the Dean hairpin on the first lap. Ingram is fending off Turkington, which really is his main aim in this. Doesn't matter about his overall position. He needs to be ahead of Turkington.
Yeah, but he also knows Turkington's not going to do anything silly because Turkington, having said that, gets closer than he's ever been. But Colin is not the sort of driver that's going to tap him or push him off as Matt Simpson gets very close to Adrian. Look, Cammish has got a really good run here. He's going to have to come flat out here. So Sutton is defending for all he's worth, trying to hold that car down to the inside because he knows that's the opening. Cammish has to go out wide, tries to go wrong way round, won't get there.
Now through Dean they come. Chilton hanging on to second, Sutton is third, fourth Cammish, Smiley creeping up behind them in fifth. And if he starts attacking Cammish, that's not going to help Dan's race because he'll have to start defending and lose pace. Josh Cook coming into the pit lane, so double winner this year, Josh Cook with a problem down the pit road. In comes the Power Max Tag Racing Vauxhall Astra.
And that's to retire,
yeah,
I think, because the bonnet's going off, they're not changing tyres, and it came in slowly.
There is Ingram fending off Turkington, Moffat fending off Simpson, and Rob Austin, look, in the Alfa Romeo in 11th place. Now, Rob Austin started 24th on the grid. He's been a winner here in the past, remember, in the days of Sherman, the Audi. But Rob Austin, 24th to 11th, as Matt Simpson has a go at Aidan Moffat. Behind him, the Alfa Romeo, another hugely committed drive by Rob Austin. He deserves a big cheer for that.
Yeah, and I thought this was a track that he might go well at because of the infield section. Sutton trying round the outside. Is Cammish going to get a better run? Sooner or later, something's got to give here.
The man in the pound seat could be Chris Smiley because he's got this great battle going on ahead. He has now caught up. What's going to kick off ahead of him?
And I just don't know where Chilton's pace has gone because the gap has now extended. Morgan leads Chilton by 4 seconds.
The fastest lap, by the way, was Josh Cook before he had the pit stop. Cammish again, having a look to the inside. He might be a bit wary of challenging there after the first lap, but look at Smiley, right on the tail of the new shape Civic Type R as they come out of Dean. Mike Bushell still doing a great job, 6th, and then 7th and 8th, Ingram ahead of Turkington.
Well, I'd say Smiley's Honda's a new shape as well. Despite all the Civic shapes we've not had that one before.
That's true, that's true.
So through the middle section of the lap again, Cammish drops away a little bit from the Subaru. I'm not sure where, I really don't know where the best place. I think actually into the next hairpin is the best chance. Oh, bit of sideways movement. I think a surprise lunge up the inside here will be Sutton's best opportunity because it's only a short straight next to the next corner and a chance to keep the lead.
Smiley and Cammish together. They crossed swords at Donington, didn't they, back at the start of the season? It's happened again. Smiley has gained a place, but that might be a finger wagging. We will see as Sutton tries the outside into Brook and can't find a way through. Chris Smiley there, having gained 1 spot, now starting to close onto the tail of the Subaru. Smiley adopting the principle that the car's already so damaged, it doesn't really matter. Nobody will notice that. Coming over the timing line then. Morgan leads now by 4.7 seconds. He's nearly in race 2, and that's Tom Oliphant at Brook who has come to grief.
And he was going well, so I'm not sure what's happened there, whether it's a spin on the... he was going into the pits, but whether it was a spin on the... Oh, we've got Stephen Jelly alongside him, braking side by side, and then coming up the inside, James Cole. There isn't room, just into the back.
So damage to the Mercedes, which is down the pit lane. This is how Tom saw it.
He's got no choice but to turn in, and really James Cole has stuck the nose up trying to follow Jelly through, but it's just not far enough up the inside. So last year's race winner, remember, James Cole in the Subaru from pole, not having quite such a good run this time out.
His teammate this year, Tom Chilton, is second. His teammate of last year, Ash Sutton, now makes the dive to the inside, and he goes through on the inside. A surprise dive on the inside, somebody said a lap ago. Ash Sutton has taken heed. Through he goes, gains the place, and Ingram's up the inside of Bushell and has gone through. So Tom Ingram goes ahead of Mike Bushell, who tries to fight back, but Ash Sutton is up in second place. Here comes Bushell, and there's contact, and Ingram gets turned slightly sideways. Bushell goes back ahead. That's exactly what Ingram does not need at this stage of the championship fight.
But that's only part one of Ash Sutton's job. He's now got to defend down the fast, flat-out section all the way to Dean. So I don't know whether he'll be able to do that. It was the move I predicted. It's the surprise move down the inside. And has he managed to stay in front? Yes, he has. Judicious use of the inside and a bit of blocking should see him now clear, because through this next section he's very quick.
Chris Smiley for the podium, maybe. He was saying a few laps back, I wonder where Chilton's pace has gone. Well, he's lost another position, and Chris Smiley, in what's left of the Honda, is getting closer to him all the time, taking Cabbage with him. So Chilton might lose another spot before the end. Bushell then back ahead of Ingram, who is still ahead of Turkington. 8th is the BMW, 9th is Moffat, 10th is Simpson, 11th now is Rory Butcher going well. Jack Goff still in 14th place.
And I mean, and that was a class move by Sutton. You know, he sent the dummy to Chilton by pretending not to move, and came so late, but got the manoeuvre done perfectly.
Here is Ricky Collard, who is in 18th place. He's out of the points, but 18th is a pretty good effort. First time out in a British touring car, an NGTC spec car, which is something very alien to him. All the things Ricky has raced in the past have lots of aerodynamic grip, not mechanical grip. This probably closer, he was saying yesterday, to a GT4 type car with which he won his class at the Nürburgring 24 hours last season. Meantime, looking at the back of Senna Proctor's Vauxhall here, coming through the Brook chicane, heading up towards the timing line now. Matt Goff hard at work for the Wix Eurotech squad. There is Collard ahead of Matt Neal up front. Adam Morgan leads by 4.2 seconds. We're on lap 15 of the 18.
Yeah, very comfortable lead for Morgan. Down the inside, defending is Camish from... he's actually got back past him, hasn't he? Because he had that got roughed up on the last lap. So that's a move for position from Camish, back up into fourth.
So if there was any questionable driving in the way that Smiley took the place, it's been redressed now, hasn't it? Because Camish is back ahead. Chris Smiley will try once more. There's Bushell, who, despite the great pace he showed, actually this isn't going to be Mike's best finish of the season. He had a 5th at Brands in that wet-dry race at the start of the season, but it's encouraging that he's up there and running consistently quickly through the race.
Yeah, I fancy that Camish might be up in the bus for the race, the turn 1 incident as well with Ian Watson, so I don't think his judicial process is quite finished yet.
No, indeed. But there's time before race 2 for everyone to sort themselves out, and then we'll go racing once more with another very jumbled grid. But Adam Morgan then leading the way at the moment, 15 kilos, I should say, of success weight he has on the car. There are the heavier 2. Tom Ingram with 75, Colin Turkington carrying 66 kilos, coming out of Brook through turn 4 on the banking up towards the timing line. 15 laps are in the book now. Adam Morgan 3.8 seconds clear of Ash Sutton. The gap down last time by 4 tenths. Look back, that's Stephen Jelly behind.
Yeah, I think Morgan is controlling the pace. Sutton is still pushing on. He was 4 tenths of a second quicker. So as we know with Ash, he'll be driving absolutely flat out. So Morgan has got enough time just to control that gap.
Looking back from Ollie Jackson's car, he's 15th. Stephen Jelly, a winner here in the past for WSR. Now the Team Parker Racing BMW trying to find a way past. Andrew Jordan is closing as well in the Team Pertec BMW car behind, down into the right-hander of Yenwood. And now Jelly making a move as you look at Camish, who is back onto the tail of Chilton here.
Yeah, that was for the last points-paying position, actually, 15th, Ollie Jackson. But, yeah, as you say, Camish has still got a little bit of pace. Oh, he's looking, trying to pull off the same manoeuvre that Sutton did, but backed out of it or thought better of it at the end of the day.
Camish not giving up, and he's trying to attack and defend at the same time because he wants to get past Chilton, but Smiley wants to get past the pair. Down towards Brook they come. The Ford just hanging onto its place, but only just, and Cammish again looking the quicker here.
Yeah, he is, but passing is not easy, and Smiley probably getting the best run out of those three, coming off the corner. Wipers are still on again, so the drizzle is still coming. That Ford very quick on the flat out section. The car's just moving around a little, but they'll still be flat out round there. As long as they've got temperature in that right rear tyre, they'll be flat through that.
So Cammish on the back of Chilton, Smiley quicker than the pack, closing right up through the hairpin, and now looking once more to make a move against Dan Cam as they come into the right-hander of Yetwood, up towards Chapman Curve now. Tom Chilton doing a great job of hanging on in there to third place. It may not be the quickest car in that battle pack at the moment, but it's wide enough and it's driven well enough to hang on to third.
Well, Bert Taylor will be hoping that Smiley gets a finish. They have their best qualifying in 5th and 6th with Dan Lloyd and Chris Smiley, so he'll really want to bring this car home.
Yeah, Dan Lloyd, who was badly delayed in the skirmish on the first lap, is 22nd. Replay here of Stephen Jelly having got past Ollie Jackson, and then Andrew Jordan diving through as Ollie Jackson goes wide at D.
Yeah, Ollie Jackson made that easy for them, giving away the last points, and Ricky Collard now coming up behind.
So Adam Morgan is on lap 17 of 18, and there is Cammish still crawling all over the back of Chilton. He has another look down towards Brook. Smiley 5th, Bushell is 6th, 7th and 8th behind. Look, we've got this battle between Ingram and Turkington. 9th is Moffat, 10th is Matt Simpson as they ride the curve. And now onto the start of the last lap goes Adam Morgan, and the lead gap is coming down 2.9 seconds, but he should have enough in hand.
Yeah, just well controlled by Adam Morgan. Class performance. He made a good start, and he's just made hay while the sun shined, and the others behind were scrapping over 2nd and 3rd. Here he comes. We haven't seen much of him, but it's been a fine race.
Puts another lap on Brett Smith after that gamble didn't pay off. Stephen Jelly, you just had a quick look at, he is leading Dunlop's Forever Forward Award for places gained. 28th he started, 13th he runs. So I was getting excited about Rob Austin's progress. Stephen Jelly has done even better in the BMW run by Stuart Parker's team. But Adam Morgan from pole position has not put a wheel wrong, has he? He's had to cope with that sprinkling of rain. He's had to cope with the safety car restart. And so far, so good. Adam Morgan has already had 2 victories this season. It's going to be a 3rd for him as he comes now down towards the Tarzan hairpin. And Tom Ingram has got a problem, we understand, on the last lap because the Toyota has slowed and people have gone streaming past him. There he is, Tom Ingram. Yet again, the Rockingham bad luck has struck on the last lap of the race. The car is limping to the end. He's going to be out of the points, and that is going to promote Colin Turkington potentially to the championship lead. There's something about Ingram and Rockingham, but right now, Adam Morgan is going to love the place because he will win round 19 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship. Adam Morgan is the race winner. Ash Sutton is going to be 2nd, and this is for 3rd. It is Chilton just ahead of Chris Smiley on the line. I reckon he got his nose ahead of Dan Cammish by 59 thousandths of a second. Mike Bushell is 6th, Turkington up to 7th, Moffat up to 8th. Then it's Butcher up into 9th. Simpson is 10th ahead of Rob Austin. And behind, it's Proctor 12th, it's Goff 13th, it is Jelly 14th, it's Jordan 15th, and Tom Ingram will not score points. And the car has stopped down towards the Tarzan hairpin. The championship leader on the last lap of the race is stationary.
Well, that's the big story of the... Here he comes. He's got Turkington, who's behind him all the way through the race. The car slows. He had alternator problems at Snetterton, and it looks terribly like that same problem again, or something similar. Some kind of electrical problem. Just shut the car down. We saw him practice him running slowly in free practice and qualifying, but that was tyre-related, and stopping the car definitely wasn't tyre-related. If he had a vibration or anything, he'd carry on. So what a disaster for Tom Ingram, but a great performance by Adam Morgan.
So Adam Morgan it is then who takes that race win by 3 seconds from Ash Sutton in 2nd spot, and 3rd goes the way of Tom Chilton. Chris Smiley 4th ahead of Dan Cammish and Mike Bushell, and Adam Morgan just the perfect drive there up from the pole position that he gained yesterday in the qualifying session, and just a perfect drive, not a wheel wrong, was there?
No, well, sometimes when you start at the front, it is, dare I say it, the easiest race to win, because you control the situation behind you. Yes, you have to deal with the rain, but he wasn't attacked at any point, was he? Because the action all happened behind him, gave him a nice little gap. But I tell you what, one of the happiest men is going to be Turkington. He's come home in 7th. He's going to dump a load of weight. He's scored good points, and he's seen his main rival, Ingram, not score points, and Goff only get 13th, and Neal only get 18th.
This is just like the race one for Snetterton for Tom Ingram, but remember what he did in race 2. He was able then to carve his way through the field. He's going to have to do it again, but there must be these big question marks now about what it is that keeps tripping the team up. The start of the season all looks so good, and again, second weekend in a row in the championship, something has stopped the car.
Yeah, I mean, we don't, I'm speculating on alternator purely because that's happened before, but remember, he runs the TOCA engine, so the ancillaries should be pretty much the same for everyone and well proven. The only other issue that we sometimes get here is fuel starvation, and whether the team, because the car stopped, it could also be a fuel starvation problem. Sometimes because of the nature of the circuit, it's an anti-clockwise circuit, but maybe it's fuel. I don't know. That's the only other thing I can think of at this moment.
We'll find out for race 2, as the car is pushed back to the circuit. Round 19 of the championship is won in impressive fashion by Adam Morgan. Ash Sutton taking 2nd and Tom Chilton 3rd. Chris Smiley 4th ahead of Dan Camish and Mike Bushell 6th. Colin Turkington up to 7th on the last lap. Aidan Moffat up to 8th, having started 15th. Rory Butcher also going nicely. He gains places on the last lap, and it's Matt Simpson rounding out the top 10. Rob Austin 11th ahead of Senna Proctor, and then Jack Goff, Stephen Jelly 14th ahead of Andrew Jordan. Out of the points, Ollie Jackson from Ricky Collard 17th, Matt Neal 18th ahead of James Cole, and then Michael Kane in 20th spot. 21st, Dan Lloyd ahead of Glyn Geddy. Jason Plato 23rd. Remember, he was tapped onto the grass early in the race. Tom Ingram out, Bobby Thompson delayed, Tom Oliphant out, Brett Smith out, Josh Cook a retirement, but he did get the fastest lap. Sam Tordoff with damage, Sam Smelt with damage, and Ollie Pidgley also retired on his first lap of his first ever BTCC outing. So thumbs up from Adam Morgan. He is a very happy man indeed, and clambers from the Mac Tools with Sicily Motorsport Mercedes, a very happy driver indeed. And after 2 pretty bleak weekends, that brings him back into the game for the championship. He walks over to the team, and just as you've seen in Tom Ingram's point of view, so it's the same for Adam Morgan. Things can change oh so quickly in the championship. And Colin Turkington is ahead once again in the title race. He's 3 points ahead of Tom Ingram now. Jack Goff 3rd ahead of Matt Neal. It's Ash Sutton 5th, and 6th Tom Chilton ahead of Josh Cook, with Andrew Jordan 8th. Adam Morgan is still there 9th, but back into the top 10 comes Dan Camish.
But scoring the most points of the championship rivals once again was champion Sutton with 2nd place. Yeah. Fine drive.
Very much so. You can never rule out Ash Sutton, can you? And so Adam Morgan there thanks the team, and in a moment we'll take off the crash helmet. It'll be a very happy Ash Sutton after another really gutsy performance to get himself up into 2nd spot. And then Tom Chilton, a good job by Tom actually to hang on to a podium finish, because he was being attacked pretty much race long. And maybe that was part of why the pace disappeared, because he had to go into defensive mode. So Adam Morgan is a race winner once more. Let's hear from him with Steve.
Top man. Thank you. Adam Morgan, well, I know it was a great feeling to take that first pole position yesterday, but what was it like to finish the job in such style today?
It's always an incredibly nice feeling when you do a lights to flag victory, and I don't do many, but no, to bring it back on top spot is fantastic. And as always, massive thank you to everyone at Sicily Mac Tools, done a great job, and great start to the day, and hopefully maybe a couple more later on.
Great start to the race as well. Tell us how you absolutely nailed it and dominated from that point on.
Yeah, my main objective was just to make sure I got off the line and got into turn 2 into the lead, and as soon as I managed to get away from that, I was a little bit cautious because the rain started coming down, and I just every corner, a bit wary on the brakes, a bit wary of the curbs, keeping it nice and safe. And then as soon as I got a little bit of a gap, I just thought, right, that's it, let's just go. Try not to look behind me and just get away.
And in the end, it was about 3.5 seconds over second place Tom Chilton over there. That rain sort of came and went. Did the track conditions change at all?
It went pretty slippy. I'd say probably laps 4 or 5 into the race. I was quite cautious on the brakes when Tom was behind me, and Tom kept gaining loads on me. But after that, it started to dry up a little bit. We had enough temperature in the tyres, and pull the gap. I saw Ash come in, but I knew with the amount of laps left, he wasn't going to do it. So I was quite calm and relaxed.
So, I mean, where do you go from here now? Does this feel like a sort of barrier removed?
Yeah, no, it's a lot of weight off. You know, starting from on pole position, my first ever one. So a lot of weight off my shoulders now. We've still got a lot to do. You know, we're starting the second race pole position again, but we've got 75 kilos on now, so it's going to make things a bit more tricky. But you never know; anything can happen in this championship, and car feels good. So hopefully we can come back again with another one of these on my head.
We're delighted for you. Well done. Race 1 winner, round 19 winner, Adam Morgan. Let's go to Louise, who's got Tom Chilton, and also Ash Sutton there.
Yeah, Ash Sutton, who got a brilliant result from P10 on the grid. It came down once again from a brilliant start off the line. I think you were up to P4 by the first corner.
Yeah, obviously I know there's a bit of argy-bargy going on, typical touring cars, but yeah, we come out on the good end of it, so I can't complain. There was a few cars facing the wrong way, but yeah, she's looking pretty second-hand now, so give the boys something back to do.
Took you a little while to get past his fellow standing next to you, Tom Chilton, but just tell us about the move that you pulled on him to actually get that P2.
Yeah, obviously when you're sat there and you can see someone struggling, it looked like Tom hurt his tyres very early on, so it's just a case of, right, hang on, where are we stronger? And while I was working that out, I know for sure he was going, well, he's quicker than me there, so I need to stop. So I tried a dummy once and it didn't pay off, and then it was like, well, the only way I'm going to get past is to sell another dummy, and yeah, managed. Tom went defensive, we hung it out of sight, and then literally out the crossover under brake, and he couldn't really do much about it. Let's say we were fairly committed, we were locked up, but there was no contact, it was a good clean race, and yeah, he made it hard, he made it very hard.
Well done. Well, let's bring Tom in. You've got to make it hard for the boy, really, haven't you?
That's why I'm here. 16 years in this, I've got to make it hard, I've got to make it easy for these young guys. Yeah, my tyres, he's right, went off on about lap 3. And even though it was raining, and even though we had a long safety car period, I was still really, really struggling. And to be honest, I'm really happy with the podium because I was fighting off Camish and I don't know if it was Lloyd or Smiley behind. Smiley. Yeah. And I was just fighting. I had no grip. And when it's drizzling and you've used your front tyres too much, I can't tell you, it is the worst feeling in the world. But still, you have to go flat out. You want the podium, you want the points. And you definitely don't make it easy for anyone, whoever they are, even if they're friends or not, to get past.
So, going forward, race 2, starting where you are, it's I guess a lot of it depends on what the weather's going to do, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's overcast all day. Overcast can mean it can be completely dry or a bit drizzly like this, which is still slicks, or pour with rain. We don't know what's going to happen. What I do know is I'm going to be carrying another 59 kilos of ballast, which is going to really hurt me in race 2. So we're going to try an absolute hardest to do a rain dance and hope it rains, because on slicks with 59 kilos, you're not going to do that well.
OK, for now, though, go spray some champagne on the podium. We'll see you later on, and we'll see you in a minute as well. We're off for a break, but when we come back, we're going to be catching up with some of the action from the support races here at Rockingham today.
Dunlop sponsors the British Touring Car Championship.